This is Connor Harold Kersey.
And I'm Jason Atkins, and we're here reporting to you from Chillicothe's own broadcasting studio.
From the studios of Chillicothe High School, this is your CAVS News Show.
Our first story is something you've had to heard already. Bill Clinton visited downtown Chillicothe 2 Wednesdays back. Residents gathered around to meet and see the former U.S. president as he walked among the corner of Paint and Main Street. This isn't his first visit, however. Did you know Bill Clinton's first time in Chillicothe was in 1992 as part of his presidential campaign?
No, I actually didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's true. He's been in Chillicothe 3 times since then, actually. Now it's time for Did You Know with Ryan Kincaid.
Howdy folks, welcome back to Did You Know? I'm your host Ryan Kincaid, and I'm back to talk some more politics. As I'm sure all you know from the thousands of political ads you've seen over the past few weeks, the 2016 primaries are in full force, and on March 15th, 2016, Ohio held its own primaries. With that being said, let's take a look at how these primaries are run so that you can impress your friends. Let's start with the difference between primaries and caucuses. Primaries, like what Ohio have, are like any other election. You stand in a line, hide in a box, tack your vote, and done. Primaries are held all day until about 9 p.m. unless stated otherwise. A caucus, on the other hand, is held at a specific time during the day, and instead of voting anonymously, people gather in a large room and take sides in that room. It's the job of the voters to persuade others to join their side before the votes are counted. If you change your mind, you actually have to move to the other side of the room. Also, you can't leave early or else your vote won't count. If there's a tie, it's broken with a coin toss. The most popular caucus is in Iowa, as it's the first primary or caucus, and it paints a clear picture of the frontrunners in each party. Speaking of which, let's talk about how the candidates win the primaries. The way a primary works is to reduce the amount of candidates in a party to one nominated candidate who will represent the party in the general election in November. This is done by winning delegates in each state. Now, some delegates hand out their delegates based on the proportion of votes in that state, but others give all their delegates to the winner. The remaining Republicans need 1,237 delegates to win the nomination, while the Democrats need 2,383. Now, while you may think you're voting directly for the candidates, that's not how it works. Instead, our votes are given to the delegates, who are actual people by the way, to then give to the candidates. And, as in the Electoral College, they aren't required to hand the votes out as the people voted. Also, there's one more factor: superdelegates! While the normal delegates are handed out via the people's votes, superdelegates can give their vote to whoever they choose. Superdelegates include higher-up state officials, past presidents, and so forth. Now that we've thoroughly discussed delegates, let's see how Ohio votes. Ohio is a closed primary state. This means that you can only vote for candidates that belong to your affiliated party. Also, you can't vote at all if you identify as an independent. For example, a Republican cannot vote in the Democratic Party and vice versa. Most states have closed primaries, but other states have semi-closed primaries or open primaries. Semi-closed primaries allow independents to vote for one party's primary or the other. The same rule applies that a Republican cannot vote in the Democratic Party and vice versa. In open primaries, however, anyone can vote in any primary they want to. However, as Ohio is a closed primary state, you can only vote in your party's primary. Well, I hope this helped to inform you about how the primaries work, and I hope that all of you out there that can vote, do vote in the general election come November. And with that, I'm all out of time. I'm Ryan Kincaid, now let's send it to Jason Connor.
Thank you, Ryan. Ohio's Democratic and Republican primaries will hold on Tuesday, and Hillary Clinton won the Democratic race in Ohio. She had almost twice the amount of votes that Bernie Sanders had. Clinton won with an extraordinary 146,000 votes, and Sanders had about 80,000 votes. The Republican primaries were where the biggest surprise of the evening took place, as John Kasich took Ohio from the current frontrunner, Donald Trump. This complicates an already heated race on the GOP side.
It's now time for Pop Fusion with Joshua Nyheiser.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Nyheiser here with Pop Fusion. Starting off with some movie news, let's cover the movies currently playing at Danbury Cinemas. The movies rated PG are Zootopia and Zootopia in 3D. Rated PG-13 are 10 Cloverfield Lane, The Young Messiah, and Risen. Finally, movies rated R are The Brothers Grimsby, London Has Fallen, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, The Witch, and Deadpool. There are no G-rated movies currently playing. In video game news, Pokemon announced Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. They left us no information other than the trailer that featured the creators looking over pictures and ideas for the game. Pokemon fans are hoping to see the 7th generation of the Pokemon world. The game is scheduled to be released this holiday season. Other notable games being released soon are Fallout 4 Automatron and MLB 16 The Show. In music news, let's look at the top 5 songs of the week from the Billboard 100. Number 5, we have 7 Years by Lucas Graham. Number 4, we have My House by Flo Rida. Number 3, we have Stressed Out by 21 Pilots. Number 2, we have Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. And number 1, we have Work by Rihanna featuring Drake. In rock news, the biggest rock festival in the United States, Rock on the Range, in Columbus, Ohio, has sold out. Last year, the festival had an attendance of 120,000. This year is the festival's 10th anniversary. The festival is being headlined by the Red Hot Chili Peppers and will also feature Disturbed, The Deftones, Rob Zombie, Five Finger Death Punch, Megadeth, Shinedown, A Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon, and many, many more. The festival will take place Friday, May 20th through Sunday, May 22nd. I am very excited to be going. That's all I have for this week. Now back to my pals in the studio.
Thank you, Josh. This Monday, Jeff Miller, the Senior Vice President for Health and Safety of the National Football League, was the first NFL official to acknowledge a link between football and brain damage. He brought up the research supporting the claim in a hearing with the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, wanting to take actions towards limiting the risk of brain damage to younger athletes. Now let's go to sports with Taylor Boggs.
Thanks guys, I'm Taylor Boggs with this week's CAVS News Sports Update. The varsity softball team had their first scrimmage on Saturday, March 12th against River Valley. The Lady Cavs dominated the Raiders with a final score of 12-2. Their season opener was on Monday, March 21st, and their next home game will be Friday, April 1st. The softball team is holding a fundraiser to raise $5,000. If they reach their goal, half will be donated to a charity of their choice, and the other half will be used to fix the scoreboard, create a higher fence for the outfield, add a batting cage to the field, and possibly put in a new sound system. If the goal is reached, head varsity coach Greg Phillips will dye his hair pink and shave a Cavalier C on the back of his head. You can donate to a GoFundMe page on Facebook or contact Coach Phillips. Please help support the Lady Cavs. The lacrosse team also had a scrimmage on Saturday, March 12th, and I do not have a score for that scrimmage. They will be traveling to Hilliard Darby High School on March 29th. Boys and girls track team will compete at the Fairweather Relay on March 26th at 11 a.m. at the Obadiah Harris Family Complex. Boys tennis will play their first match at the OUC Tennis Courts on March 29th against Dublin Kaufman High School. And finally, the boys baseball team will travel to compete against rival Uniota High School on Tuesday, March 29th, and their game will begin at 5 p.m. For more on schedules and results, please visit the Chillicothe City School website and click on Athletics. CAVS News Sports has selected their first ever Player of the Week, and this week's athlete is junior Nina Williams. Nina started playing softball on the JV team at Chillicothe her freshman year. She continued on JV through most of sophomore year, but did get playing time at a varsity game at the end of the season. Coach Phillips, Coach Clark, and the rest of the softball coaching staff recognized her talent and abilities to put her on the varsity softball team. Nina mostly plays in the outfield, but is now being traded as a catcher for when senior Haley Large graduates. Congratulations, Nina. Keep up the hard work. Well, that's all I have for this week. I'm Taylor Boggs, so back to Connor and Jason in the studio.
Thanks, Taylor. In other news, a Chillicothe man was taken to Adena Regional Medical Center for treatment of injuries suffered in an early morning crash on Blaine Highway on Tuesday. According to the Ohio Highway Patrol, the single vehicle crash on Blaine Highway near Windy Ridge Road happened just after midnight on Tuesday when a northbound Chevrolet Malibu driven by Ethan Fields of Chillicothe went off the right side of the road, struck a guardrail, and overturned. Twin Township Fire and EMS responded to the scene. Fields refused treatment, but his passenger, Brandon Seward of Chillicothe, was transported to Adena for treatment. The crash remains under investigation.
That's all the time we have this week. I'm Connor Harold Kersey.
And I'm Jason Atkins. Have a fun and safe weekend, Chillicothe.